My name is Kate Sablosky Elengold, and I'm an assistant professor of law at UNC School of Law. So for several years, I've been studying issues related to credit and debt, and I'm a former civil rights lawyer, so I come at it from a civil rights perspective and think about how debt, particularly student debt, affects marginalized communities.
My name is Amanda Martinez. I'm the Senior Policy Analyst at UnidosUS. UnidosUS is the nation's largest Latino civil rights organization. As an organization focusing on Latino issues, we are interested in exploring narratives often claimed about the Latino community, especially as it relates to Latinos in higher education. So when we discuss the findings of research that we've conducted, we really ensure that the findings are housed within a framework that incorporates a historical narrative, but also one that's culturally relevant.
I worked with our partners at UnidosUS and the UNC Center for Community Capital and was funded by a generous grant by Lumina Foundation. And we worked together to do a 2-year mixed method study that resulted in 2 reports where we identified particular barriers to college completion for Latino students. We identified, based on the literature, 20 different barriers to college completion. And we asked 1,500 people who had some college but never graduated what made it hard for them to graduate. And we had 4 kind of large categories. And what we found was that Latinos exhibited greater levels of debt aversion, which was the question that we were asking ourselves at the beginning. But what was really interesting was that there were 2 things that rose to the top of salient barriers between our Latino and non-Latino respondents. And that was not debt aversion. Those 2 things were transportation barriers and the cost of college.
This research really peeled back all those additional layers, and we were able to go deeper to uncovering the debt aversion for Latinos is nuanced. This research also focused on an understudied population, which is the some college, no degree population, and this population is growing.
So what we ultimately concluded was that debt aversion is neither a personal failing nor a personal virtue. It's a response to the way that our higher education system is financed on the backs of individuals and families through debt financing. And it's also a reaction to failed debt systems throughout the economy and the uncertainty and discrimination that continues to exist in the labor market.
It really is, as Kate has mentioned, a rational reaction towards our debt finance system, which was ultimately decided by policymakers to disinvest in higher education and stack students and families with only really one financing option, which is to take on student debt.
So this was a really successful collaboration between academics and advocates funded by a private foundation. It brought together a mix of different skill sets and perspectives that allowed us to have, I think, more reach and more credibility on the ground.